There are many postponements and delays. The deadline to get a real ID is fast approaching. Just 2 days remaining before the May 7th deadline. The real ID will be necessary for anyone planning to fly domestically in the U.S. Joining us now with what you need to know about the real ID, we welcome James Kanders. He's airport director at MBS Airport. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So let's first just talk in general terms. What is a real ID and how does that differ from your standard ID?
Some extra verification steps with the Secretary of State. And you can tell if you have a real ID if in the upper right-hand corner of your driver's license you see a gold circle with a star in it or a gold state of Michigan with a star in it.
And this close to the deadline, how many people would you say are coming through the airport who still don't have a real ID?
Well, that was showing about 80 to 85% of the passengers were real ID compliant. So, in talking with local TSA, they say our numbers maybe a little bit higher than that for compliance.
Oh, so you're seeing quite a bit of compliance there at MBS Airport as far as people having the real ID already.
Correct.
How does a person apply for a real ID?
Well, you set up an appointment with the Secretary of State, and they will ask you to bring in some additional documentation to prove your residency, maybe a utility bill. If you have a passport that meets those requirements, or a compliant birth certificate, or an immigration documentation like if you have a foreign passport with a proper U.S. visa, that'll meet requirements.
And does this real ID compliance, does it apply to those who are under the age of 18, or is it just for adults?
It is just for adults. Anyone under the age of 18 will still be able to travel without an ID.
And what happens to travelers who don't have the real ID by May the 7th? What happens? Are they allowed to board their flights, or is it just a delay? So tell us about that process.
There will be steps in place. Passengers would still be able to fly, but they should be prepared for additional screening at the TSA checkpoints. So your standard driver's license will be accepted to verify your ID, but if they may ask if you have a passport or any of those that the immigration documentation to provide assistance, and they'll probably still let you fly. You just may be subject to additional screening and delays.
So I heard you mention passport there. Would a passport be a good alternative to the real ID? If you don't have it, will a passport suffice?
Yes, you'll still show your non-compliant driver's license, but if you show your passport as well, then that would get you right through the line.
I know you mentioned going to the Secretary of State to get the real ID. You recommend a person do that even when it's not time to have their license renewed? They can do that even if it's not that time?
Yes, you can. You can set up an appointment to get real ID compliant. If it's not during your regular license renewal time period, there will be a charge associated with that, around $9 or $10. It's basically a Secretary of State change fee.
Okay, but it's really worth it to save yourself the hassle if you're going to fly domestically after May 7th.
Yes, a lot of airports like MBS, you'll probably get through with relatively little delay, but if you're checking in at other airports that have a lot of people going through, then you could be subject to lengthy delays.
James Kanders, the airport director at MBS Airport, thank you so much for joining us today and sharing this information as that May 7th deadline quickly approaches. Have a great day.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you.